Josh, you mentioned Deadpool a few times during this, which is a movie we both saw.
Together.
We didn't see it together, actually.
Really? There's some big chunky person.
We both saw it, but we saw it separately. And we both really enjoyed it. But after just 24 days in theaters, Deadpool has already amassed nearly $700 million at the box office. This puts it head and shoulders above other R-rated comic book adaptations like Watchmen, 300, and Kick-Ass. Does Deadpool indicate a new day for raunchy superhero cinema, or is it a spectacular exception to the PG-13 or bust rule?
I think it's exception. But I love the fact that it was rated R. If I want to see Deadpool, he can't be PG-13. I mean, he is just raunchy in every way. Swear words, bad jokes, evil puns. I mean, you can't be PG-13 with him.
Right, so I think that they approached it the way that would work for that character. But
yes.
I don't see, like, there's some speculation that, let's make an R-rated X-Men movie now. Let's make an R-rated Spider-Man movie. Like, let's just go in that direction. And I don't think that an R rating necessarily works for every character.
Well, even Wolverine. He's always drinking, he's always smoking, he's always getting into bar fights. But he's not, he's not yelling swear words, or having sex out in the open, and making dirty jokes about, body parts. He's not
taking one right up Main Street? Is that what you're saying?
Ooh, right up the Main Street!
Right up Main Street.
Or referencing jerking off with a baby hand.
Yes. I think that the other thing that's going to be interesting to see, DC especially here recently, and I think we're going to see it in Batman vs. Superman, but I think we really saw it in Man of Steel, where Man of Steel took Superman, which to me is like a really wholesome character who, if anything,
Boy Scout. They always call him Boy Scout.
Who, if anything, should be leaning more towards like a PG or a G rating, like the kind of thing you want to take your kids to, like truth, justice, in the American way. Like that's the heart of Superman. But like Man of Steel kind of took him right up to the R-rated line.
He literally snapped Zod's neck in front of a family.
Right. Like there's probably cuts of that exist that were rated R that would not have gotten the rating. And so the question is, like, why take these characters who are ill-suited for like a movie that would be like a hard R or even a PG-13 movie and try and like stuff them into an R-rated box? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, let each character be true to itself.
Well, because I would say America, but human nature, so to speak, likes the gritty ones. Happily Ever After, we liked seeing the blood and the guts and the bad things happening. And seeing Superman go dark, well, I don't mind that. Now, if Batman suddenly took off his mask and played with puppies, I wouldn't like that either.
Yeah, like, see, to me, Batman is one of those where you can do almost anything with Batman.
Oh, yeah.
You could do Adam West style stuff and it works. You can do Batman and Brave and the Bold style stuff and it works. You can do, Christopher Nolan, Dark Knight kind of stuff and it works. To me, like, Superman, to me, is like an all ages kind of thing. Spider-Man, to me, you can get dark with Spider-Man, but like PG dark. Like,
he always calls himself the friendly neighborhood Spider. Even when he was going dark suit Spider-Man, he wasn't that bad. He was just kind of a jerk.
Right, and I think that all of these movies that are trying to go dark, and I think to capitalize, like you look at trends, it's not to capitalize on Deadpool, because Deadpool is just coming out now. It's to capitalize on, Batman Begins, Dark Knight, like even something like Fantastic Four, which was a horrible movie.
It was a horrible movie.
But like, why did it have to be so dark?
Why did they have to make it?
Right, why did it have to be so oppressive? Like, couldn't you have made that like, it's a family, like make it a fun family movie, let it be that, and then it'll be fine.
Well, they're trying to go from the original Fantastic Four with Jessica Alba and Chris Evans, and they tried to make it, more gritty and dark. It wasn't good. It could have been, but it wasn't. Animated thing. Ugh.
But I think you could make, like, go to Pixar. Like, Marvel and Pixar are both owned by Disney. Like, Fantastic Four would be a perfect Pixar movie. Like, it's a family movie. It's like The Incredibles.
Yeah, you can go Incredibles with it.
Right.
I like The Incredibles.
Basically, The Incredibles is inspired by the Fantastic Four. Like, they're almost the same story
and I thought
in a lot of ways. I enjoyed The Incredibles.
Yeah.
I'm making The Incredibles too, but, like, just let each thing be true to itself. Deadpool works because it's R-rated, because that character works in an R-rated
He's supposed
world.
to be a smart-ass, bad jokes, doesn't care, making horrible... Breaking the fifth wall? Is that what it is?
Breaking the fourth wall.
Fourth wall. Yeah. You know what his character was? The movie made with the character. If I'm making that sense. You get the idea. It was good.
Though if there was a fifth wall, he could probably break it as well.
Would.
Speaking of R-rated superhero cinema, one of my favorites is Watchmen. Josh, I gave you a copy of Watchmen to read while we should have been paying attention in business class. Look at us now.
Yeah, look how far we came.
Given that Batman vs. Superman is about to drop, I thought it would be a good time to take a look back at Zack Snyder's superhero debut. Almost 7 years later, what are your thoughts about Watchmen?
It was a heck of a lot more interesting than paying attention in class.
So the book was so I just remember we were in class.
Oh yeah.
And it was this really boring class where we just had to kind of...
We passed it. We didn't do anything.
Right, it was very little work. So I'll bring you comics like Dark Knight Returns, Watchmen, and I think to this day it's probably the only thing you've ever read. So I'm glad
I've read things before.
I'm glad I was
Huckleberry Finn. Made in class.
Huckleberry Finn. No, that was Boysenberry Soup you ate. No, sure. But what do you think about the movie adaptation of Watchmen?
Well, you know, I like that they kept a lot of the details in it, and, you know, I love Rorschach, but when they changed the underlying story of you know, the genetically engineered monster that imperialized in New York.
Yeah.
I don't like that they changed that. I really had to adapt it from the movie to make it flow, but the fact that they changed that detail kind of ticked me off. They kept a lot of the good basis of it and the story, but they changed it a little bit.
Yeah, I think, you know, Alan Moore, who wrote the Watchmen graphic novel, always kind of held to the fact that he said that Watchmen was unfilmable as a movie, and that's why he never gave his approval for it to be done. He had his name taken off this adaptation, and I think in a lot of ways he's right. Like, that's a tough story to adapt just because there's so much going on.
It could be a miniseries. I mean, that would work.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I think it would have been better off as, like, maybe, like, a Netflix series where it all comes out at one time, where it's, like, 10 or 13
yeah,
episodes.
they could have made all that work.
Yeah, I think the problem is it's tough to get budgets to where you can do all the effects and everything like that.
Well, don't get me wrong. I have the movie The Watchmen. I've watched it a dozen times, the director's cut, and I can quote most of it.
Yeah.
But there were some changes that I didn't like, but I still paid to watch it.
I think that the thing about Watchmen, though, is that there are things that they stuck to really, really closely from the comic book. Like, almost maybe too closely. Like, you focused on kind of the one huge change, which is they kind of changed the end game. But there are a lot of things where it's like line for line, panel for panel.
Rorschach did a pretty good job.
Yeah, like they did the exact same thing as the comic book. And I think the thing is, like, the comic book is 12 issues long, and the stuff that you had to just compress to get it into even a 3-hour movie, I think it was like 2 hours 35, 2 hours 45 minutes.
Something like that.
It just felt like there were some times where maybe they needed to be a little less reverential to the source material and maybe cut some additional things or find a way to kind of make it, you know, move a little bit more for like a 2-hour cinematic experience versus like a miniseries or a comic book.
They gave enough information, let's just go to this Rorschach, to know where he came from, his story, why he's so, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And they cut out a few things, like how he found his face, how he started out, and how it all kind of... He started becoming Rorschach. But they still kept enough of it that I enjoyed it. Even the Night Owl, too. You know, I'm okay with it.
I think it's one of those things where at the time, the critical reaction was really negative. And at that time, like an R-rated superhero movie, I think it only did like $185 million worldwide. It was considered not to be a successful movie.
Well, how many people really knew of The Watchmen?
Yeah.
I mean, we read the book in high school, so we were pumped to see this for years. But how many people really actually knew about it who weren't, you know...
Yeah. And I think, you know, when I've told people to go see it, like I told my brother, Avi, to go see it when it came out, and he was like 15 or 16 at the time, and he absolutely loved it, like raved about it, said, oh, it's one of his favorite movies. And I think it was almost too early. Like, I think that now that there's so many superhero movies, like in 2009 there were a lot, but now we're to the point where, like, you're getting fatigued. There's so many. Like, Captain America Civil War is coming out, and then there's this one, and then there's going to be Ant-Man 2, and there's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and, like, in a vacuum, I'm excited about all of those things, but when you add it all together, it's, like, almost too much. Like, it's
well, remember, like, in, let's say, 1989? Yes, that shows our age. Batman. The original, not the original Batman, but the Michael Keaton Batman. Was there another superhero movie that came out that year?
No.
Batman's all I remember.
Yeah. And you look at something like Deadpool where it's like R-rated, it's different. And now you have, you know, Watchmen, which was, you know, 7 years ago, came out in theaters. Like, I feel like if that was coming out now, even if it was the exact same movie, I feel like it would be a lot more successful. Because I think that what Watchmen plays on really brilliantly is its kind of takedown of the superhero story, which Deadpool is in a comedy way, Watchmen is in kind of a more serious
Was
way.
like the hero, like the anti-hero. You know, is a hero, but he's really kind of not. I mean, he just doesn't have a lot of the good qualities you look for, like Superman, but he still does the right thing at the time.
Yeah.
But still not a good guy.
Yeah. Like you, I mean, I have Watchmen on Blu-ray. Like, I still watch it.
Probably.
Probably.
DVD.
I think I watch it like once a year. I've seen it quite a few times now. I think it's one of those things where people are building an appreciation with it over time. But I would still love to see at some point someone do like a definitive, miniseries or 10-part, miniseries where they can really get into characters, the pacing, the kind of things that make Watchmen.
Oh yeah, like all the little monologues that they, like pretty much whole chapters. They can't have that in the movies. You can have it in a miniseries.
But it's not funny because they almost did chapters in the movie.
Yes, they did.
Like I think they tried to, like they changed the plot beats of the story, but they stuck with the structure of the story. And I think there were just some missed opportunities. But on the whole, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, me too. I continuously watch it over and over again. I mean, I've seen every episode, every scene. But I still watch it, still love it.
Cool. For our final story, the much-anticipated 6th season of Game of Thrones premieres on April 24th. With only 6 weeks to go until the premiere, Kit Harington, who plays Ernest Pincushion Jon Snow on the hit show, is sticking to his knives and saying that Jon Snow will remain dead and that he only returned to shoot scenes as a corpse. Is he telling the truth, and the only time we will see him act is when he gives the most realistic portrayal of a corpse since Hayden Christensen in the prequels, or is Jon Snow coming back to life?
I hope he's coming back to life. I hope the red chick comes and brings him back to life. They've teased it in the pictures of him with blue eyes like a White Walker. I want him to come back, but not as a White Walker. He's one of my favorite characters.
I think that there's such an assumption now that he's coming back, like that he has to come back, that he's too important a character for him not to come back.
Well,
that I think to do like the Game of Thronesy kind of thing at this point would be like to not bring him back.
Oh yeah, because they get characters you love, and then they die.
See, I was convinced they were going to bring him back because there's a character from the books, and this is spoilers for the books and maybe for the show as well. There's a character from the books named Lady Stoneheart.
I know that.
Who is Catelyn Stark, who gets brought back from the dead.
After she's been rotting in a river for like 2 or 3 days.
Right, so she goes and she starts avenging the Red Wedding and all that kind of stuff. So I thought because they cut that out, I thought it was because, they're going to bring back Jon Snow, who was dead. They didn't want it to be like, they keep bringing back all these people who died. Like, I think I thought it was like, okay, we're cutting this out so that we can, have Jon Snow being resurrected be a really big deal. Like, we've only seen, like, Beric Dondarrion, like, get resurrected so far in the show. So it's technically possible, but I feel like they haven't overused it, and they've really stuck to, like, dead is dead.
But if they kill off Jon Snow, completely dead, gone, what happens at the wall? Do we even care what happens to the wall without him? He was the main character at the wall, and the other guys, but if he's gone, who cares what happens out there?
Okay, so I'm going to throw a theory at you right here that I have. So George R. R. Martin has said that he's writing The Winds of Winter, which is the 6th book. He's writing that right now. And he said there's a big twist coming in that book for a character that's already dead on the show. So he said there's a character that's already dead on the show that he has a big twist planned for in season 6. So here's my wild, off-the-wall theory. Jon Snow is dead. He stays dead. He's just dead. So who do we have at the wall that we care about right now?
Sam. No, he's out of the wall.
So the only characters we have there are Melisandre, Ser Davos, right? Yeah. That's who's at the wall that we care about at all. Because Samwell...
He went off to the Citadel.
To learn to be a maester, right? So, what if, in the books, and maybe they do this in the show too, Brienne of Tarth does not kill Stannis Baratheon? Okay, so wait, listen. So she doesn't kill him, because Stannis Baratheon tells her at the end of season 5 to do your duty. Now, the duty of a knight is not to execute people on the field of battle. Right? They take him for trial. Right, they bring him to justice, right? It's not in her character to kill him. So what if, instead of being executed, she gives him the option to go to the wall and take the black? To
that's logical.
Right, to redeem his sins. So he gets brought to the wall, Melisandre's there, Ser Davos is there. And everything comes out about, how he killed Shireen and all that kind of stuff. He takes sword, kills Melisandre.
Which I wouldn't mind that at all.
Right, which kind of wins Sir Davos back to his side, and he kind of becomes the new Lord Commander, and kind of becomes like the new person at the wall.
That doesn't actually sound like a bad theory. I mean, it keeps him at the wall, away from everybody else, so he can't be the king. But, he's... Like you've said before many times, he has a lot of honorable tendencies, but then he goes and does bad things like burns his daughter alive because he's power hungry. If he kind of redeems himself at the wall, I'm cool with that.
But I don't know it's necessarily that he's power hungry. Like, I'm a huge Stannis fan. Like, I'm
Yes,
the world's biggest Stannis fan. It's not that he's power hungry. It's just that he believes that not only is he the rightful king, but he's the only one who can kind of lead them out of this horrible situation that they're in right now. So the things he does, like killing his daughter and like the terrible things that he does.
But not just killing her. He set her on fire.
Which is like kind of the one big bad thing he did. And by the way, only did in the show, not in the book. Like that's the one big horrible, terrible thing that he did. But even there, like in his mind, it's so he can free the North. He can kill Ramsay. He can get, the fake Baratheons who are actually Lannisters off of the throne. So I think he thinks of it as like a positive thing. Thank you all so much for watching this first episode of Almost Relevant. We're going to film this every week and put it up with fresh new topics, fresh new videos, fresh new talk. So if you enjoyed this show at all, even a little bit, please click the button that'll be somewhere in our vicinity that says subscribe on it to subscribe to get more great videos. Or you can click the little thumbs up button that's right below this video to like it, or leave a comment down below to let us know how we can make the show even better.
I never supported your program. We have my predecessor, you must well give all right, eh?
Welcome to Almost Relevant. Shit, again, god damn it, I can't read that goddamn word. Welcome to Almost Relevant. Alright.